Good morning, and to all of you young lovers out there. Wait, I don't know. Do what you do. It's Monday, November the 17th, and I am Jim, and I welcome you to the podcast, episode 18. Wow, 18 days in a row we have tackled this monster, building consistency in the efforts of just saying hi. Again, this endeavor here is I think, the more I think about it, now I've got my own intentions and agenda, of course, in getting back out there inside of the box world and other places too. And you do that by way of building audience, in case you didn't know. That's how it works. But anyway, this is mainly just to say hi and we connect up here for the sake of the loneliness epidemic. Yep, that's really kind of what it boils down to when you really look at things, is like the world and people have gotten so lonely in so many ways, and that's where I hope, in my overarching mission in life, to enhance organic creativity and connection in the world of AI and social media, that we can do better getting together, right? So, and plus, it's funny, man. They're just it's funny observing the world as it is right now, not even talking about headlines or anything like that. Quick shout out for something happening very locally in Harrison today. Don't forget tonight, 6 o'clock, they are having that meeting over at Signature Tower to, I guess, answer more questions or present something about the Provalis company that is looking to be, it looks like it's a done deal, downtown at the old Walters building where Leffler's was, right there on the corner at Stevenson and Main. And I hope that works out well, because for all the pitches going on there, it looks to be quite an opportunity. I can say that. The only question that I would really have is just the parking situation. That'd be about it. Coming over here to where I'm live, I'm going to pin that up to the top. There we go. Should be pinned. There we go. And that way, and I think I've got things worked out to where I can actually put links in there without like breaking stuff that you may or may not want to be broken with. So anyway, I hope everyone had a great weekend. If you did and stayed completely unplugged from the Matrix, good on you. Me, nope, because I'm doing this every morning at 8 o'clock, and with good reason, I think. The big topic of the day, again, of course, first shout out, throw out to 72601life.com. You can get caught up on the local headlines and the weather forecast, because here's the interesting thing. If you saw last night, I had put up a 30-second-ish commercial. Hold on one second. Let me come back over here. I changed some things so it wouldn't break. Anyway, put together about a 34-second spot for my book, Toys Are Totems. And why did I do that? What was the impedance behind doing that? And I kind of did it really quick. It is really kind of spooky how fast you can do things these days. But I had done that because I'm proud to say that I'm joining the sponsor lineup on StormTrack 360, as I'm sitting up in the ranks to help out where need be. I kind of miss doing that. It's like, again, way back in the 20th century, when the weather got dicey, and in the world of broadcasting, it was always all hands on deck for the most part, because it was our job in radio to inform you, the public, of what was going down. And now everybody's got the boxes, and we all got apps that tell us everything that's going to happen, like to the nose. No, it doesn't. But anyway, Brandon Ruley, that is, with Storm Trek 360, we were talking this weekend, and he wanted to see if I'd be willing to do it. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I will. And so um, I don't know what's going to happen. Looking at the forecast, though, let's come back over here. Now, anything can change when it comes to the weather, right? But right here, what you see today, we're looking for mostly cloudy. 20% chance showers, the high of 63, so definitely cooler than it was this weekend. Overnight low of 48 tonight, partly sunny tomorrow, the high of 68. Pretty much exactly the same there in Branson. So we could, I think the whole area should fall into that, because here's the thing. And the reason that I put both of those forecasts up, because for however the jet stream works coming through this area, it's one of those things that, even though we're only like, 30 minutes apart, it can make a world of difference when it comes to a system coming through. And so while down in the 7261 area, it could be sunny, clear, and beautiful. And then you go up to the 65616 and it flips on its head and it's crazy. So anyway, that's kind of why I like to put both there, because that is all about being in the 72601 life, because we live in, I mean, hello, here we are. Another thing about that, and before I get on to the topic of the show today, is one of the things that I've always considered living here in this area, and that's since 2006, is that when you look at the map and then you look at the radius of, say, from Harrison to Branson, and even before they got, the 4-lane highway in, it was still like living in a bigger city. Like, I grew up in Little Rock, and that area is about like the size of the city. And so where I lived, no matter pretty much anywhere I wanted to go in Little Rock proper, it was like 20-25 minutes. So it seems like that just makes sense. We just got a lot more pretty landscape in between the parts, right? So I don't know. So I've never seen it as like way over yonder, but that's my perspective coming from an area that was just bigger, right? So anyway, and I just kind of sharing that, and that's why I really do see it all as. I know everybody's separate, but I see the whole region as kind of one. And when I hone in on that 72601 life, is because I live here. This is where I live. I live in Harrison, and I'm very glad too, because again, I can't think of a better place that I'd like to live. I'm still in Arkansas, where I understand the laws and the taxes for the most part, and it's quiet and pretty laid back. Sure, things happen, but on the whole, it's a good place to live and raise a family. I've been doing it now for 17 years. No complaints. So that said, just a little explainer there. And why you'll see at 72601live.com the both of those weather forecasts, because again, it can change. And I'm really, really proud to be uh, hoping to help out with the Storm Track 360 coverage when things do get dicey. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know, because again, the forecast says nah, but here's the thing: Brandon is on top of the models that are out there, and so that's where our discussion came from. Because he's not saying this because he is not a clickbait, scare you to death weather guy. It's not his thing, and I respect that so much, because the weather is what it is. Weather people are most relevant when things are bad, and that's not as often as you think. So when it's not bad, people forget about them. So they have to stay relevant, and that's where you'll see things that really entice you. Before there was clickbait, there was the Weather Channel, right? And so it's just a thing. But I appreciate the fact that Brandon doesn't do that with Storm Track 360, and it means a lot. And I'm looking forward to helping ride out the storms as we go. So, but anyway, kind of looking around. Don't forget, like I said, the big thing tonight in Harrison, 6 o'clock, Signature Tower, the Provalis. Isn't it funny how that's a tech thing, but yet it sounds like a pharmaceutical? Provalis. I wonder what the side effects are. Well, the one I have a question about: parking. That's it. I'm just curious. Because if they're going to employ up to 150 people downtown, which is great. I hope that works. Man, I really, really, really do. Because it can stimulate everybody else around there a lot. But it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, because I know with just court down there, Fridays, especially for like arraignments, man, that place was a packed house. Packed house down there on the square. So I'm just curious. We'll see how it goes. But with that said, on to the topic of the day. This morning I decided to do something because, again, I got one product, one service, and one project. Product, of course, is my book, Toys or Totems, and my service is an evergreen content package that, again, this is a very exclusive thing. I'm not trying to be snooty. It's just I want to make sure there's a really good fit between you and I if we work together on something. So that's where there's a questionnaire, and we really talk to each other to make sure we want to do things together to help you save some time in staying connected and engaged with your peeps out there, and coming from a mindset of engage with those who love you already, because the more you do, the more they're going to tell other folks about you. Because at the end of the day, word of mouth advertising is really the best of the best of the best. However, what I do see, and this is where today's topic comes in, is getting visibility. I put my head into a lot of things and I dive deep a lot because I really want to get to an answer. See, back when you had your primary, we'll say, mass media outreaches, no matter where you were, whether it's a large market or a tiny market, you say I'm a disc jockey and I would go into a new town. See, by default, I had an audience waiting on me, and they were dedicated, kind of forced listeners because they were already there. The new guy shows up, and there is a process. It's like if I don't do my part in connecting with you on that radio station you already love, and I'm going into a seat where there was someone else before me you really did love, and if I didn't earn that, then it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's like they tune you out, go over to the other guy, and that's all she wrote, right? But that doesn't exist in the world that we're all transmitting our messages to. Now, and this is not just about businesses, but it also is about your hobbies and interests, charities, all these things. It's like, how do you stand out now without doing something really stupid that will only get you a 15-second clickbait headline, and that's it? And don't do that. That's dumb. I mean, like I say, when I talk about the purple cows and coming up with a purple cow, that's about longevity, getting some serious legs out of something that makes you remarkable and worth talking about, right? So, with that said, a couple things that I'm going to explore over the span of the next 8 days, starting tomorrow, is proof in the pudding in what I'm talking about. Is I'm going to be focusing in today with both my 3 keys to content creation workbook as well as my 8-hour video workshop course workbook that I put together that's available. If you look in the comments, you will see you got links there to where you can go download the PDF and give it a go yourself. And that's it. Caring is sharing, man, and that's or sharing is caring, and that's really what I wanted to do there because I know that we're in an economic time where every dollar matters, right? And I've always felt that way anyway. It's like it's about return on investment no matter what you put your advertising, marketing, and promotion money into. And it's always a tight thing, and it's always the first thing that's cut whenever things do get lean. And it's unfortunate because, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But with the advantage, we have advantages of social media to where it's always there and it's free. But now I'm seeing on the major platforms out there that most people have an account on, whether you use it or don't, um, to be able to get any kind of recognition is tough. So the next 8 days is not going to be so, it's going to be a little bit of an experiment in that. Now, a month or two back, I had done the verified blue check mark on X, formerly Twitter. Um, because they had a special running, right? Well, this morning I saw that Facebook/Meta is doing another special type thing, and so I'm going to give it a go. I was like, you know what? Let's get a blue check on Facebook. Go for it. Why not? Because in theory, it should help you get more visibility because you're a subscriber. So the free ain't free what it once was. Because another thing I found interesting is like in one of the bullet point pitches in there to give it value to do it is that it will proactively make sure nobody's like spoofing you and looking like you or whatever, which I find funny. It's like, wow, you don't do that anyway. Where's your safeguards and rails, right? So anyway, but I'm gonna try it out, and then I'm putting together a campaign for Toys or Totems that I hope will, well, I hope will encourage folks to give the book a go. And so that's where I'm going. And so we're going to do that. I need to make another note um, about what I'm doing inside of that. Because again, it's all about brainstorming. That's the thing with the 3 keys is like the very first thing is to sit down and brainstorm. It's Monday, right? This is probably busy for everybody getting caught up from things for left over from last week, things that may have blew up over the weekend, and you got to get to it. But it could also be your slow day. And Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever your slow day is, a little bit of slow time, and you've got 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour that you're just kind of twiddling your thumbs or doom scrolling on the box, that you could repurpose into very constructive time. I think And it's so funny because in all of this stuff, I've realized that what my true superpower is time management and organization. And that all stems back to broadcasting because in being a slave to the clock, to where, I mean, you got to watch everything to the second because it matters, right? In that world. It matters all the time. That's why it's like if it was me and in a perfect world and I was prince of the planet, one of the things I would absolutely mandate into any type of education curriculum would be a communications course based on radio fundamentals and working that clock. Because communicating with time in mind and also the ability to communicate is so important. And that doesn't matter what technology does ever. I don't care what AI does or the next thing after AI. It doesn't matter. Organizing your time and being organized in your efforts, man, change your life. Absolutely will. All that said, it's I'm really going to put all my focus in that because, again, like I say, one product, Toys R Totems, the book, one service, Evergreen, and that is definitely a very exclusive thing if you are wanting to talk about something like that. But here's the proof in the pudding. Watch what happens over the next 8 days, and then come the 25th, I will share with you the results of this 8-day campaign. Okay. Then, of course, for my project, my community project is at 72601life.com with the virtual stump, where right now we've got both candidates for Boone County Sheriff locked and loaded. They're both there, so you can get to know both Mark Forsey and Tim Robertson, who are vying for the position and working to earn your vote. I highly recommend it, and I'll be reaching out to all the other candidates over the span of it, because we've got time. I mean, it's like, the election's not until March 2026. However, I wanted to have a resource that will be available, and it really will probably take that much time for the awareness of its existence to really catch on in the community, even though I'm only talking primarily in this one to Boone County residents. There you go. So I'll be putting some other features up there as far as like encouraging you to be sure to register to vote, make sure all your voting records are up to date. And we've got a great clerk's office in Boone County. I mean, they've always impressed me since I covered my first election here all those years ago. I guess that was 2008. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And they do a great job. We're very, very fortunate. If you don't believe me, you can either wait and see come the next election and compare to like Pulaski County, or use like the Wayback Machine online and see how much of a disaster Pulaski County is when it comes to pretty much every single election. There's just always a mess. I covered plenty of those that I can say that objectively. So anyway, so that's kind of the focus. But the big thing that I want to see and I will share is, can it, blue check mark, be advantageous to your efforts? Is it worth doing a subscription? We're going to find out preliminarily, say that 5 times fast, over the span of the next 8 days, and I'll recap again on the 25th to see how that worked. All content is going to be written and produced today to go out during that period, and we'll see what happens. And I'm feeling pretty hopeful. The main thing is I've got to make a message that's worth you listening to, and for other people to listen to, and to be interesting enough to be engaged with, to be worthy of sharing to your friends, because it's all about word of mouth in the digital age. I'll let you know how that goes. All in real time. Transparency, kids, because it's important. What else? That's kind of it, because again, I'm gonna hit all the platforms that I currently have an account on. Again, Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, and then both my personal websites, blog at jimbumgardner.com, and then also at the toysrtotems.com website that I'm going to incorporate a blog. So I'll be working on all that, and it'll be fun. And so there you go. Let's see, make sure, look for any notifications that are happening here. And just want to say hi. Good morning, Heather. Good to see you, my friend. There we go. Another thing over the weekend that was kind of interesting, and again leads to all this thought, is TikTok had recommended a singer named Anthony Q. Now, I shared a link yesterday, and this dude blows me away. He's like, hands down, from everything that I've heard in a very long time, my favorite R&B singer of the 21st century. If I have to describe his style, imagine, if you will, if you're an old school Motown fan, Imagine if Paul Williams and David Ruffin of the Temptations, the Classic Five, had a kid, and that's what I would equate Anthony Q to. In the process of listening to his stuff, which like every track is great. I mean, I just really dig it. There's one in particular that those with sensitive ears may be offended by, but get over yourself. It's music, man. He's expressing, and it's cool. I dig it. But it's really good stuff. But I'm also seeing that he is having an issue with what I don't know if it's a label per se or a distribution company. It's kind of hard nowadays to figure out which one's which. But either way it goes, but he's in a battle with them, and I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to get caught up in it. But it is something for if you're an aspiring entertainer of pretty much anything, if you're a creative of anything, and you are looking to grow your reach and your audience, I can tell you, you will get. It's the day I published on Amazon, Toys or Totems. Man, I started getting hit left and right and left with offers to help sell the book, grow the book. I got my timelines on everything are showing me all these wonderful services that can help grow the audience. I'm like, okay. So I looked at each one of them and kind of did a little diving and seeing what they are, and it's nothing new under the sun, man. It is a matter of people. Again, everybody's going to make a buck, right? But nowadays, to be able to navigate through a real opportunity for purchasing a service that helps you in your distribution and marketing versus total crap. And I will tell you though, now that level there, total crap definitely is way up here. And so along the way of this journey of what my goal is in 11,000 lives touched by Toys or Totems, as I come across the more egregious ones, I will absolutely share that information with you. I would have no intention whatsoever to spend a dime with any of those people. I just won't, or bots, or whatever the hell they are. I don't, because I understand and appreciate tools that can help you, and you should absolutely spend money on. But there are more that look so good and sound so great. I see one now, and I'll name names on this one. I see Zeely AI, Zeely.ai, on my timeline all the time. You know, sell 1,000 books or sell 1,000 ebooks this week or whatever. Okay, bullshit. You know, this AI is going to, but when you look at it, the most it's doing that I see is just making a recommendation or recommendations for you to build a campaign. Well, guess what? My 3 Keys to Content Creation Workshop book that is free will do the same thing. So use that first. But it'll walk you through the brainstorming process and then also considerations for scheduling the different tier levels of what content to put together and put out that you control, right? And and that's it. And consistency is the number one thing, and the final key there is consistency, because you've got to be consistent in your messaging. You know, in a perfect world where money flows from the trees and everything just happens magically for free, you know, great. You could do great, run a schedule 24/7 blasts all the time. But no, number one, nobody in the audience wants that. Nobody. You do have to be consistent, especially on the front end, so people can see you and know that you exist, and then have the stuff stacked up to where if they want to learn more about you, you got more waiting on them. That's what I'll be working on today. But anyway, I'm going to share all that with you because why? We got to help each other out. If we're not looking out for one another, nobody else is, and that's true. Plus, I don't care what industry you're in and what you do. I firmly believe in a philosophy that I heard about many years ago. Well, not many years. Well, I get relative. Plenty of years ago, that I really liked. And that is, we are here to create, not to compete. I know at first listen, a lot of folks kind of scratch their heads. And it's like, now stop and think about it. We are here to create, not to compete. Well, if you believe you have, and you do have, direct competition in your field, there are more than you doing a thing, right? So that is your competition, but that can be a very healthy thing. Competition is healthy because it can, if you approach it right, you're going to make yourself and your services and everything you do better than the other guy. But it's the other guy's job at that point to try to top you. And that becomes a good back and forth, right? So if everybody's working for the betterment of themselves to then be a better competitor, that's not the same as going into a completely competitive mindset. We want to win. There's one win, there's one winner, there's one loser. That won't change. So this is not about softening that. But it is a matter of, if you are creating the things that will make you better, you will do good. If just inside. And that's true. So we are to create, not to compete. I know that goes against all the capitalistic framing and brainwashing that we've all been brought up into. So I just want to kind of point those things out. And again, proof is always in the pudding. So on November 25th, we're going to find out how right I am in my methods. Will I be 100%? Will I hit my target goals? Which I'll announce now. My goal in this campaign is specifically to sell either physical or digital copies of the book via Amazon. I may do a few other little things along the way to where you can get a physical copy directly from me. Yeah, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to sprinkle that in. But I really want to do a push for this 8-day run starting tomorrow that directs people to Amazon for that listing for either the paper book or the Kindle. Then after that, I do believe is when I'm going to launch the audiobook. And then we'll do another one, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's kind of it. It is now 8/26, Monday, November the 17th. The day looks to be beautiful. Could change, though. Models have been crazy. And we'll keep you posted. Follow stormtrack360.com and all their outreaches on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. To stay updated with the weather information and get it from a real human being, because that's important. Also, that's it. That's all I got. I do have about 6 of the Book and Uncle bundles left. $40, free shipping, anywhere in the contiguous United States. And we can work something out if you're somewhere else. We can do that. But I'm going to get off here and go get to work because I got a lot to do. And I'm sure you do too. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. It has been fun, but we got stuff to do. Let's get after it.